All right, today's just kind of random. Like a lot of times I come on here and say, man, this is really unique. This one's different. And I think today's is all that, but it's kind of random. A lot of people have asked, man, I like your channel, but it's kind of random. Like I don't know if it's a Christian devotional channel, a cigar channel, Life Happens channel. And I said, well, you're right. It's all those things. So to randomly clarify some of that, I'm just sharing life, man. I'm just sharing my life. And anybody that's watched since the beginning, you know why I'm doing that. And I had said, I wish I'd had more videos of my parents, especially my parents speaking. Especially my parents speaking about advice, about just things that happened in their life to remind me of their humanness. And that's really the only reason I wanted to start a channel, is so that Caleb and hopefully his kids, maybe their kids, have a reference point. Whether they think I'm illiterately ignorant or just kind of crazy or they're bored out of their mind, at least they have a flavor of the sound of my voice and what I look like in my movements. And I know that sounds maybe superficial to some of y'all, but in longing to have that value from my parents and not being able to have it or see it, I just wanted to share it. Within that, I realized the stuff I want to share for Caleb and his kids is also stuff that I share with surfers, the young adults that I get to speak with, and the athletes, pro athletes that I've spoken with past that want a reminder. And really, sharing life like this is about sharing it with everybody. We're all in the same boat. Whether we like that, whether we like the people in the boat or not, we're all in the same boat. So that's kind of a refresher of why am I doing this? My goal isn't to be an influencer, to be a YouTuber, to grow a big channel, to all that. I don't know anything about all that. Obviously, I'm random when I post. I'm random about what I post. I try to put it in little categories just so if people are here to catch some wisdom or here just to hear reality of life or whatever, I try to break it up just so you can go where you want to go. But that's just like my cigars, man. Today, I'm repeating because I'm not trying to do a different cigar every week. I have done majority of different cigars because I've loved what I see at the cigar shop with Chris and Ron, Melissa, and they're so good about steering me in a direction. Hey, you ought to try this. But I found a handful that I love repeating, and today, man, it's as for now, it's my go-to. It's the Don Pepin Garcia Vegas Cubanas. And if you remember, or if you want to go back and watch, the reason that I fell in love with this one was it has, everybody talks about notes of cigars and what it has these little taste of or hints of. And for whatever reason, y'all, this is always kind of, and I don't get a lot of those. I don't, like people say white pepper or black pepper or caramel or, I don't, I just know what I like. But this one, I do get some hints of nuttiness. And the biggest one is I really get this leather taste. And I've said it so many times before. It reminds me of when I was a kid chewing on a leather strap on my baseball glove. I just get that kind of taste from it. And I don't want to get away from it. I like it. So I want to keep going back to that. So today I'm repeating in my randomness video the Don Pepin Garcia Vegas Cubanas. And here's the thing about cigars, man. Everybody likes what they like, and that's part of the beauty of this, man. Find what you like, stick with it, venture out, try other stuff. But this is I have a great reference point. Any cigar shop I go to is say, hey, I really like this Don Pepin Garcia Vegas Cubanas. I really like Dominicans overall. I like all the other ones, but my favorite is Dominicans. Fillers. What do you have or suggest that's close to that? Gotten great suggestions because the tobacconists or the professionals that I talk to, they have a reference point of, hey, this is what this guy kind of likes. Wonder if he's tried this. And majority of the time, I've never tried that. So anyway, that's kind of random about what is this channel again, and why am I doing it, and where are we at, and I'm going to repeat cigars. It's not just new. Hey, because I'm not really reviewing them. I throw in there, I like this, or I don't. Or most time I don't say I don't like it. I may not say anything at all. There have been a few that just are not my favorite that I won't get again. But I don't need to go on and on a video about that. Just kind of keep it to myself, and because my taste isn't everybody else's taste. So anyway, so here's what I was wanting to share today. Random thought to go along with my random video. I get to share wisdom, and it's Forrest Gump, simple style, simple, applicable life wisdom with young adults, with all ages. But here's the reality of that. There are stats, and I wish I had written them down because I've used them in talks so many different times to let people know. The stuff I share, it doesn't matter if you agree with it. Even in the book, The Life's Field Guide, man, if y'all ain't got a copy, get a copy of that. Get it for somebody you love. Get it for a young adult or a high school grad. Anyway, it's all about relationships and wisdom. And people agree with that. When I say stuff like the meaning of your life is relationships, period. People latch onto that, they agree with it. When I say if you want the best life that you can have, you gotta do wisdom. You gotta do wisdom. But here's reality of everybody's life in this. Everybody's busy, and we are habitual creatures. It's windy today. We are habitual creatures, and we have formed habits out of the way we've been brought up, our education, or the lack of certain parts of education, in the town, and the culture, in the time period of the world that we're in. So the wisdom we have to live off of is usually become habitual habits and rituals that have just been formed through time. So when somebody shares a different nugget of wisdom, here's the reality. 80% of the people ignore it. If it's on a phone or a device, they just keep scrolling. They see these little motivational videos or even just pictures or statements, and they just pass it. 80%. That probably could have changed their life to the better in some way. Another 10% might read over it, might listen to it, might watch it, might look at it, and they agree with it. Yeah, that's awesome. Yes. That's what I want my life to be about. But they don't do nothing beyond that. Listen, reality is a lot of Christians do that. They regurgitate and learn Christianity educationally, but they don't hear somebody give a good talk or a sermon or something be like, here's the best question. If you hear somebody speaking about their faith that gives you some good biblical wisdom, the hardest question to ask and answer is, do I do that? Not just, yeah, that's awesome. Oh, I needed that. Oh, that's good. Oh, I agree with that. Oh, I'm going to use that. I'm going to post that. It's, do I do that? And how do I go do that as an action? I tell college students and when I was with the pro athlete, listen, here's the thing. The wisdom that whatever comes out of me that hits you in the soul, in your mind, that God brings to you as, hey, that, if you just agree with it, it's really useless. So you got 80% that just ignore it, roll their eyes, keep scrolling. You got 10%, oh yeah, make all these wishy-washy state. And I think a lot of people have good intentions and they believe that, oh, that's awesome. Yes. But they're so ingrained in their other habits, it's nothing but a moment. It's nothing but a moment of, oh, y'all, I'm just saying, like, this is by far, for now, my favorite. And last year, I smoked it so much, I wanted it not to be my favorite anymore. You know what I'm saying? Like, I wanted to move on, expand my exploration and horizons. Listen, when something's good, it's good. And when it's good to you, it's even better. So if you haven't tried one of these, I'd say try it. You may absolutely hate it, be like, that's nasty, whatever. I don't think you'll do that. I don't think there's any way, but I just have to reinforce, that's a good cigar, y'all. It's a good cigar. So anyway, you got 80% ignore wisdom, 10% agree with wisdom. Then you got 9%. You got 9% that dive a little deeper, that look at it and like, man, that could really help change my life. That could really do something for me in my relationships, in my work, in my team. Like that nugget right there. And they research it a little bit. Like, hey, what is this? What's the concept of this? Like, how can I do this? How can I apply this to my life? But at the end of the day, they just keep diving and they don't do nothing with it. That's the 9%. So there's 1% left. There's 1% left. And that's the 1% out of 100% of people that I've ever spoken with. There's 1% that don't overthink it and try to over-research it, don't over-analyze it, but they just dive in with action, with a massive amount of action for the better, or at least some daily consistent action. When I challenge them about, hey, go serve your parents, call your mom once a week, and just stories of what God's done in their life through a nugget of wisdom in a simple way that's changed that relationship forever, for the rest of their lives. But it's only 1%. I used to, when I was young as a speaker, get offended by that and take that personal and get hurt by that. Like, I know this will help people. Why are they not doing, like, I don't know how to help people do this. Now I realize the more wisdom I got from God, that's not my job. My job is to plant the seed. Pray that it falls on your fertile ground. but I'm only the seed planter. You make the decision and choice whether you're in the 80%, the 10%, the 9%, or the 1%. And I'm telling you, the 1% are the ones that I've seen over 30 years of doing ministry that are the most successful, not perfect, not without failure, not without the adventure of valleys and mountains, are the most successful relationally. And honestly, this is a big rabbit trail, the most successful financially, the most successful in life. Not because of me or anything I say, but because of their, hey, I'm going to do something. I'm going to do something, and I'm going to keep doing it. I'm not just going to try it and be like, that's BS, that didn't work. Or I'm going to keep trying it, flesh it out through time, and make that piece of wisdom into a habit. And that is the difference. And y'all, I'm 53 and still learning this. There's still things that I see and I'm like, man, I need to do that. But I don't implement it because I have a bucket full of 53 years of other habits. But if I'm intentional about making a decision to take action on that, then that changes things. That changes things. So I just randomly share nuggets. Maybe that's another piece of what this channel is. Just seeds and nuggets of my life. Sharing my life. I hope you get to smile at it. I hope that it brings you some kind of joy just for a few minutes that you're watching. I hope it challenges you in your soul. But I'm not trying to lay out massive theology. Like there's so many guys who are great at that. I'm not being an apologetic defending my faith. So many guys great at that. I'm not busy doing somebody else's calling ever again. Been there, done those things, shared Charles Spurgeon, shared C.S. Lewis, went through many small groups of sharing that kind of knowledge. Where I have fallen at my stage in life is I just want to share life and wisdom that helps people relationally with their relationship with God, with themselves, and with others. And ultimately with my son, his future wife, his future children, wherever this goes. And if Caleb ever sees this and he has a son or a daughter, I hope that I pass on a box of Don Pepin Garcia Vegas Cubanas that they get to sit around and smoke together. It ought to be a family tradition. And I hope at some point I get to implement that. But even after I'm way gone, 100 years from now, somebody carries that on. So here's to you, future family. So today is a hodgepodge. I'm just grasping because I wanted to share it. I felt like after getting I talked to somebody this week about this channel, and they were the ones that kind of sparked that thought of, okay, what really is it about? They love it. They're like, man, I subscribe, I'm in it, I watch all your videos, but just out of my own curiosity. And I thought that was great. Absolutely great. And I told them basically the same thing I told you, and they were like, man, that makes so much more sense. Like now I see what you're doing, why you're doing it, and love it even more. I'm in. Count on me for watching. I appreciated them for doing that. So, catch you up on some life. Had the opportunity to go watch more baseball this weekend. That was awesome. Some good games. Catawba won their their games and they advance to the championship, which is this coming weekend. Different location, not sure if we'll get to go to that one. And then preparing to officiate a wedding, a couple of surfers next weekend. And after that, I think regional baseball and super regional baseball starts. And if they get through that, then they go to Cary for the World Series D2. So we're hoping for some summer baseball. But if it ended this weekend, man, I'm happy. It's been awesome to get to go do that. But in doing that, man, God's so good. God is so good. Had the opportunity, had a college athlete ask me if, hey, you got a few minutes, I just want to sit down and talk to you, pick your brain. For a young adult to ask somebody my age for that already spoke volumes to me. Like, here's somebody like we're talking about that's going beyond habitual living and a great young adult, like in their word and in prayer life, and just had some things going on in life and wanted to talk. But to seek wisdom like that, to seek it out and say, hey, do you have a few moments I could sit down and go through? That was awesome. That's awesome. Had a parent come up and say, Matt, would you mind if I get enough copies of your book to give the seniors on this team a copy before they graduate? I said, man, I would love that. Thank you for doing that. That's awesome. Just the fact that they saw value in Forrest Gump style wisdom that I shared through that, and they want to give that as a gift. I was humbled, y'all, just humbled. You never know. You never know where you're going to go, that God can use you in your simplicity, in the reality of your everyday life. Like, some people, when I talk to young adults, they get this perception, like, I don't know a lot about the Bible, so I stay away from sharing or speaking up in conversations. And I was like, man, don't do that. Like, I don't know what a lot of guys know. If you feel like you got a nugget to share, then share it. Throw it out there. See where it goes. But man, we all are given scars in life. We're all given wisdom in life. We're all given ups and downs in life. And if you can't share it, especially with the people you love, like I respect so much fathers who, and my dad did this to an extent, like you ain't got to share your scars or mistakes by glorifying them. But it was awesome the way my dad did it with me when I got to be a young adult, and helped me realize, Matt, you're going to go through some jobs. You're probably going to get fired, probably going to get laid off, probably going to get done wrong, probably going to get pissed off at the church a couple of times because of what was he correct in all that. Went through all that. But he said the reason I'm telling you is because I've lived all that. You'll get mad at your wife, and Matt, everything's going to be okay. You just keep being who you are, keep going forward. But I want you to know, as your dad, the people older than you don't have it all together and aren't a whole lot smarter than you, and they've just lived longer and processed some things. And that meant so much to me, to peel back that curtain at that age and be able to have that camaraderie with him, and him still my dad, but that type of, man, you're being vulnerable as a man and telling me the truth that I never knew growing up, that you ever made a mistake, that you ever did some foolish stuff. So I would challenge you. You don't glorify that, but you can use what God has brought you through to help someone else develop, to help someone else grow, to help someone else avoid that scar. They're going to have their own scars and they might repeat that one, but to help them avoid it or making it a longer scar, meaning that it lasts longer than it should because you were able to say, hey, here's how I helped change that. Anyway, I challenge you to share the wisdom that God's given you, that life's given you. Even if you're in the 80%, if you're in the 10%, if you're in the 9%, I pray we all transition into the 1% and we act upon the wisdom we're given. You know, I used to tell, when Caleb was little, we had this statement, and I used to tell him, man, I'm not going to have 1,000 rules on you. I'm going to have some really strong suggestions that were rules to me, but I wanted him to have this concept. I'm going to give you some really strong suggestions that if you don't follow this suggestion, there are consequences. Because I want him to know that that's the reality of life. But there was a couple of things that I always told him. But the biggest one was this statement. Do what you're asked, when you're asked, with your very best attitude and your very best effort. The rest is just noise. Think about that for a second. Do what you're asked, when you're asked, with your very best attitude and your very best effort. That seems like, I'm sure in his world, when we first started that, a very parental thing to say. Do what I tell you to do, when I tell you to do it, and you better do your best. Okay, but we learned through those because my plan in planting that seed, and I still remind him of that at times, is this also comes true with your professors, with your coaches, with when you have a boss. Like it in all humans. With God Almighty telling us at certain times, giving us wisdom and nuggets of, hey, do this. When I give it to you, do this. And then to actually do it. Instead of begrudgingly and complaining and whining and blaming. And we spend more time doing all that instead of just doing the task. Just do it. When you're asked to do it. Then you're not procrastinating. You're not getting behind. The stuff in the house and that needs to be done doesn't stack up. And then all this. Well, Matt, there's so much. I get it. There's so much of life. But the point was, get to a point to where you can actually do what you're supposed to do and make the best of it. Have a good attitude about it. I hate folding laundry, but that helps my family. And I'm better at folding it than Sherry is. Like, I fold up them shirts and do tight military rolls with them, and it looks uncluttered, and I know that's a service, so I throw on some music or a book or watch the stock market while I'm folding. And I do it to the very best of my ability. It's not always perfect, but to the best that I can with my best attitude. Think about what comes out of that. Think about, I don't mean to tell you things you already know. I'm just saying. It's another random nugget. This is a random video, and I'm not going to continue to ramble. So there's enough to plant seeds, and it's all over the place. If you're still watching, bless your heart. You're awesome. I love you guys. I mean it. Go make it a great day. If you get a chance, Vegas Cubanas again.